Hi everybody, I'm Vandana. Welcome to Founders Mindset. In this podcast, we're going to understand how founders of different fields start their business, scale it from 1 to 50 customers, and how they are going to become big. We'll try to understand what are the financial requirements, marketing requirements, the team building strategies, and many more. Today, we have Rubina, who is the founder of Heavenly Desserts, a cafe and a dessert company, and we're going to understand this business in depth. Hi Rubina, tell us a little about yourself.
Basically, I'm from Tamil Nadu, born in a very small nuclear family, my parents and my sister. And I mostly grew up in a town called Kadalur near Pondicherry, pretty much by the sea. That's how I grew up, and I'm quite studious, and also an artist by heart. I love to do anything related to art, craft or painting, any of those. I think I've picked it up from both my parents. Both my mom and dad are artists themselves. They can draw very well, and so my sister does too. So I think from being a child, my mom used to bake, and my dad is a football coach, but as well he's an artist. He can draw very well. That's his hobby, I would say. And so I think art was in our blood. I love art. We can appreciate art in any form, be it a dry stone, a leaf or a stone or anything. We love to find art in it. But I became an engineer by profession because of, I think those days engineering or medicine was the thing, and I was doing quite well in my studies and did electronics and communication engineering, and I then became a hardware engineer, chip designing engineer to be precise. Worked for about 17 odd years, which I enjoyed a lot. Found my better half there, got married, and in the process, when I had my first son, because we used to bake, when the kids start growing, they like to eat cakes and other things. So I said, let me try baking for him, and I just started baking. And that's how I just started baking, and I figured my love was more towards making art with food. That is what I figured, like doing something from a simple cake, bringing and making it look appealing to your eyes. Of course it would taste good, I didn't have a doubt about that part, but making it more appealing to your eyes, bringing in somebody's ideas into a cake was what I thought intrigued me a lot, and that was my main interest for having started Heavenly Desserts about 12 years back. And I started it as a home baker. I just would bake because I need a canvas to do art. That is why I started baking, I would say. Baking came naturally in our family, but my more interest was more on the art form, art part of it. So after a point, I had my second child where I was left with not too much time to be doing my cakes. So I thought if I have someone to help do the cake or the canvas for me, I can do art. I can concentrate on art. That is how I figured, and I said, okay, I had my first employee, say about 9 years back, where we took up this place that we are currently in. 9 years back is when we incorporated the company as well, and it was called Heavenly Desserts Bakehouse and Cafe. And I had my first employee who would do the R&D for me. He would do the baking and the cream and other part. So my canvas is ready. When I'm back from work, I would do the art. So that is how Heavenly Desserts was born.
That's very nice. And yes, you recently celebrated your 12th birthday, or it is yet to happen?
No, I think we are yet to celebrate the 12th birthday, but I think I was celebrating our 8th birthday, so that I like number 4 and 8.
Okay.
So we celebrated our 8th birthday. Now probably end of this year we are looking to celebrating our 12th birthday.
Oh, so, that's amazing.
This year marks 12 years
great.
of me having started Heavenly Desserts.
That's amazing. You said that it was more of a home baking business, and then it became your actual main. So how did you realize that from an passion project, an actual project, which is your business? How did it translate?
So I think because I was also working when I started it. So it's only 6-7 years since I quit my job. So I wasn't able to do both. So then I said, if I have a team who can do the background baking part, and I would only concentrate on the art part, which would be, I can do it after I come back from work as well. So I was thinking that could be a convenient way. So I think I started in a very innocent way, I would say, not really doing a business canvas or writing the financials or even thinking so much. So I basically needed a team who can make the baking part, and then I do the rest. So that was the idea. But I think it was an organic growth which took us to this part, because what happened was, because I was working, I didn't have the flexibility of being able to accepting all orders. So when somebody asks me for today evening I want a cake, I wouldn't definitely be able to do, because I'm working. I have to come back from work and then do the art part, which we will miss the wagon there. So I felt if I was going to be dedicated there full time, maybe I would be able to deliver my art more than what I would do. So then I wanted to take a chance and try. So I just took a sabbatical and then was just looking out how things are. And then I felt, yes, I have more flexibility in accepting orders, in doing delivering an order at the time the customer wants. So when I figured that out, I wanted to give it a shot. How it goes. So I think that was the reason why I kind of quit my job and wanted to try this out. And then I did see there was considerable growth year on year, month on month, and I wanted to continue and see how far can we go.
Okay, so I'll take you back 12 years.
Okay.
So do you remember your first order, like
Yes.
who it was and what was it?
Very well. I do remember it very well. I think that was the moment I figured I love art on food than the baking itself. So it was my son's second birthday, and because as I said, I like baking. I've bought loads of baking, supplies, pans, and all those things. So I did make a Mickey Mouse cake for him. That was that was not the order. I just made, and then I felt when the Mickey Mouse came to life in the form of cream, I really was so thrilled. And seeing that, my immediate neighbor, she said, "Can you bake a cake for my daughter?" And it was her 4th birthday, and she wanted a butterfly cake.
Okay.
I had no pans, no molds, nothing, and I wanted to make a butterfly cake. I only had a round pan, and I was like, okay, how do I do? Then when I was looking at the butterfly pictures of some butterfly cakes, and I realized I can do a round cake, cut into half, and swap the semicircles or hemisphere, whatever you call it, and then they become, the straight part would become the butterfly side, and then you can carve it further. And I was so thrilled, getting a butterfly out of a round cake. I think that was the moment where I figured this is what I want to do, because I've been baking for a friend until then. She's my childhood friend, who was my friend from my school days. Actually, he and his wife started a company called Bite Me Cupcakes.
Okay.
And for them, I was helping them to bake. I was baking for them, I would say.
Okay.
And then I figured that it was nice, but more than just baking cupcakes and frosting it on a day-to-day basis, I think I liked the art form. When the butterfly came into life and they all appreciated it, I think that was the moment when I felt that's what I wanted to do more.
That's amazing. I mean, so 0 to 20. So that's like your close circle or your friends who kind of support you, and they order cakes and everything. Then how did you get your customers?
So I think it was pretty much hearsay, I would say. And also one more thing we did was in 2012 I would go and put some stalls. Any fete happens or anywhere they ask for a stall. So in the Gymkhana Club, that was also one of the turning point, I would say, where I got people out of my circle. So I had put a cupcake stall there, and we almost sold out, I think. I can't recall now very much, but there I got my first, or one of the first customers who were out of my circle, who I didn't even know. So she calls me one day and said, "Rubina, I'm working for a company called NetApp, and I want so many cupcakes for an event." And I was like, wow. So it was that event that made me visible to people who I didn't know. And from there she started referring, and she's one of my very favorite customer too. So like the first cake who I did, I have done the kid's 16th birthday recently, So we did the 4th birthday and our 16th birthday. So that family it's very, very close to me as well, because they gave the first breakthrough for me. And this other customer, she's now a very dear friend, because again over years, it's again 12 years journey with her too. So she referred me to most of her friends or colleagues, and they would take, they didn't even know who I was. They just tasted once, but still they gave a big chance for me. She ordered her brother's wedding cake. That was my first wedding cake again, which I did. So I still remember, every customer, even back then. Now I don't remember many of my customers who come in the recent times, but 12 years back, I very well remember all the customers who I had served, who got their first cake, who trusted us with their very special moment. And yeah, so that's how I think we moved. So I think by end of 2013 or so, we kind of had a considerable amount of people who would come back to us, repeat customers. So year on year, for their birthdays, they would come back to us. So I was only doing cakes then, cupcakes and cakes. So that was the only two product line I had until 2015-16 time frame. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you have to chart out from 2012 to 15,
yeah.
How are your finances? Like, were you burning your cash, or were you making money and you were profitable?
Honestly, I didn't even pay attention to it, to be very, very honest, because as I told you, I was already working. So for me, delivering a cake was more joy than whether money came in was secondary. Honestly, I think that was one thing which I wish I had done it right.
Okay.
Because that's a big learning in this last 12 years, where I have never planned the finance for the business, which I've learned in the recent past. So at that point of time, I think I would have been burning only, is what I guess.
Burning.
Yeah.
Okay. And your marketing was through referrals.
Yes. Word
was
of
there
mouth.
anything else that you did? Like, one was setting up the stall. Anything else other than that in that first 3 years of
Absolutely nothing. It was
Nothing.
only word of mouth, and I wouldn't even talk about it to anyone as well. So I was that closed about my work itself. It's only the customers would talk about it, and if somebody came to a birthday party and they happened to eat the cake, then they would know. They'll ask, who did this? It's nice, and then they would remember to ask the friend for whom I did. So like that, I think we started catering to people whom we didn't know. So and the other friend who I said from the outside circle, she started referring to people farther off as well. So I started delivering to different places in Bangalore. So we used to even deliver to that Devagoda petrol bunk is somewhere close by here. Right? So I remember having delivered a cake myself there. Because that time I was the only delivery person as well. So we didn't have cabs or Dunzo or all of those days. So we really grew only because of word of mouth until I think until 2017. Yeah.
So what
5
happened
years.
in 2017?
2017 is when I completely, like towards the end of 2017 is when I took this break from work, and I was completely into it, and then we started this WhatsApp group. So we started WhatsApp groups, one group where I would send it to my already customers and say, you can ask people to join. So then that way the WhatsApp group started getting traction, where people started joining the group, unknown people, known people, all of them started joining the group. So I would post, so that is when we started our range of products as well, the breads, the puff and everything. So we started posting there what we do on a daily basis, and people started ordering. So that was our the first marketing effort that I think we put in the business at all.
That's amazing. And you were saying that you were this one-man army or one-woman army wherein you were doing the baking part of it, then you were doing the decor part, then even delivering it to the customer.
Yes.
So how was that journey, and when did you realize that you actually wanted a team member?
Because I was working as well, I had my second child, and through the pregnancy and everything, I figured it was not scalable to do more than a cake in a day. If I have to bake, frost, I have to do the design and then deliver. So also I realized I was enjoying the art form than the baking part. So I said, okay, let's outsource because I did ask a few people, would they bake for me and then give me a cake so I can just do the art form. But at that time, I think, or rather, I didn't connect with the right person. So I couldn't get that opportunity. So I had to find alternative. So that is when we said, okay, let me hire someone who can do the baking part. And before all of that, I think in 2013, that is 2 years after I started, I kind of had this little bigger oven and a mixer and everything, which we had bought. So wanted to put that to use. So I hired this one person who can help me do the baking part. Yeah.
Okay. So then so basically we covered the marketing, the sales, the finance, the team part. And you said that you took a sabbatical in the year 2017.
Right.
So then you opened your cafe, which we visited, and it was so beautiful. And your kitchen is so big, and that area is also so nice. So how did you stumble into it and realize that, okay, I want to have a cafe?
Again, it was very organic, the growth was. Nothing was planned, and I'm not kidding when I say this. I really didn't plan any of this, because I never thought I could become a business person or an entrepreneur. But when I wanted to have a setup for this person who I hired, I was looking at places, and then we found this place, one big hall, and the criteria was something closer to home. Okay. And it had to be a commercial space, and we didn't want a residential space for a commercial setup. So we came across this big commercial setup, but little inside, because it didn't matter. The area the distance from the main road didn't matter, because I wasn't even planning for a cafe or anything. So it was only for the kitchen, and it should be close to home, because with 2 kids, I should be able to go there and come. So that was the idea. So very closer to home, this place came up. Just seeing it, we really liked it. I wasn't even sure what I would do with an 1800 square feet place, because I had nothing at all. I just had one oven and one mixer, that's it. So I really didn't know, but we liked the place. We said, when we have to have a kitchen and want to do, at least one thing I was sure is I wanted to do volumes of stuff. So if you want to do volume, you need space. So we said, chalo, let's take it. And we took the space, and then we set it up. Okay, we needed a table, a granite table, and we needed a stainless steel table. So we just bought those, and a wash basin, sink to wash the vessels. So everything was bought on need basis. That was how it was done. And so this first staff was there, and then I realized, okay, he cannot handle the load. When I took the sabbatical and we were trying to promote our other things, not cakes, just bread and puff, we figured out not one person is enough, because we had to clean, we have to do a lot of stuff, and the time was the constraint. So we figured that the delivery time is crucial, because people want the snacks at around 4:35. So if that is to be met, we need people. So I hired one more person, and then we hired a manager. And so we had 4-member team with the manager and myself, where I would do the cake, art form. The rest of the stuff, they were all managing. So that's how we started this. So it's very, very slow. And after 2017, we felt only we needed half the space. We didn't need more space. Then I said, okay, when somebody comes to meet me to discuss a cake or something, we need space. So we partitioned it like an office space, and then the kitchen space. And then again, the front part, the cafe that you saw the other day, was never used. And in the meantime, my children are growing, and we started having birthday parties for them. And I figured every birthday party was a hassle. We have 30 kids come home, a birthday cake, and then the snacks and juice all over. And I said, we have this space, why not utilize the space? Just convert it to a cozy environment where people can enjoy their birthday. But because we're making the cake, we're making the snacks, we're putting things together, food and the cake. So just give a little bit of an ambience, and people could have their party there, because this area is the area where I live, or where the kitchen is. It's a very residential as well. It's a IT hub, very close to a lot of IT parks, and also many schools are there. In Bangalore, most of the schools are concentrated in that area. So we kind of felt, why not? So that was in 2019 is when I figured, and it just happened. My cousin, who's an architect, she was also there, and she said, let's do this car. So I said, fine, let's try it out. And she gave a rendering, and it was quite nice. And we said, chalo, let's invest a little bit and make a nice ambience, so that people can have their parties there, birthday parties there, where we will give the cake and the supply, the snacks. So that is how a cafe was born. So honestly, it was all on a need basis, because I didn't want my house to become messy. So we said, okay, let's make a small cafe, because we have the space. We're not going to incur any extra additional cost for the space, because we were already paying the rent for the same. So might as well make an effective use of the space.
Correct.
And it could, so we started hosting birthday parties, we started hosting workshops, paint art workshop, we did a couple of baking workshops, we did bake along workshops during the kids' birthday party, where kids can come, they can frost their own cupcake, they can assemble their own pizza, part of the party itself. So that, everything was little we kind of added. So we want to do some game evenings going forward. So those are in the pipeline. So the place was more concentrated on closed group can come and have a nice time. So that was the idea when we started. And unfortunately, COVID hit the moment we just put up our cafe. So we really have not tapped too much into the possibilities or the expansion of the cafe part, where we are looking to have more footfall there. But it was not planned, as I already mentioned. It was genuinely not planned. Many times entrepreneurs say that, but it was genuinely not planned. It just so happened.
Accidentally, a lot of things came in the right time at the right place.
Correct, I think so.
So that's amazing. And I remember when I went through your entire menu, there were like 200 plus items. How do you manage the inventory? And one of your USP is that you freshly bake your cakes or your breads based on the order. So how do you manage the inventory and the customization part? Because it's really difficult to do it on a need basis.
So when you what do you mean by inventory? Like, do you mean about the baked product or the raw materials?
If both, like raw materials.
So raw materials is, I think we kind of have gauged the usage. So we kind of always have stock for another week. So that is also, let's say we always keep stock for another week. That's it, not more. But being a made to order, our model itself is made to order. It doesn't have. We don't have to maintain an inventory, honestly, because we'll only bake 10 breads based on the order. If there's a 10 breads, only we bake 10 breads. 10 puff, only 10 puff. But because we have a cafe, we make everything extra one portion now.
Okay.
So breads probably extra 2, puff extra 4. So that's all. So we don't really have to maintain an inventory. So we know every Tuesday, Thursday, and every other day we kind of take stock of our stuff. So nothing is kept beyond a day today, because we bake it fresh today. Tomorrow we can use it, that's it. And tomorrow evening everything is out. And the next day we bake again fresh. This is for the cafe part. But for the customers, it is only made to order. We make it only after an order comes. So there's really not too much of an inventory to be managed.
Okay. And from where do you go and get it? Because many people go to Chickpet, or early in the morning you go and buy your stuff. So from where do you buy your things?
I think we have we have currently loads of platforms where they have wholesale supply. Like Zomato has got a platform called Hyperpure, where they kind of have loads of products which we can just order the previous night. By 11 if you order, you get the next day. So similarly, in the process, I think through a lot of networking, we kind of figure out the suppliers. For each and everything, there are different suppliers. Like for the flour, there's one particular flour and sugar, there's one supplier. For butter, now of course we would get Amul butter or Nandini butter. Any of the brands, they have their distributors. So we kind of identify who the distributor is. We have to either we call the company and find the distributor name, or we ask the neighboring businesses for the suppliers. And that is another key thing which I am working on currently, is bringing down your cost for your raw materials. Until now, because volume, if you have volumes, you can go to the wholesalers. But we never had volumes to start with, right? So at that point of time, you have to take it from your supermarket or Amazon or the local supply store. But once you are getting into bigger volumes, then you can go and approach the wholesaler, where they are willing to supply to you as well. And they have a minimum order requirement. So you end up, in the process, you end up finding. So now I'm in the process of working out on getting an effective costing without compromising on your quality, because we've identified what brand, what raw material we need. That is identified in this last 6 years after which I quit job. My main focus was getting the operation streamlined. So that was the key focus. So we wanted to maintain quality, we wanted to maintain the consistency in the deliverables. So that was the focus. So we didn't work on bringing down the cost. So now that the operations are stabilized, our products have got a particular consistency, and we know, irrespective of the volume, we can give the similar consistency, similar quality. Now my focus is going to be on the finance. I think everyone does the finance first and go that way. But as I said, that is one lesson I've learned where I didn't focus on finance. So now I think I'm focusing more on the finance part, the business development part. So this year is actually for that.
That's amazing to hear that you're focusing on business development and finance, because that's what we all are here for, right?
Right.
Because all of us generally start the business, but 0 to 1 is done.
Right.
1 to 50 is also done.
Right.
50 to 500.
Right.
That is where the real challenge is, and that is where we need to work on so many different angles.
Right.
So when you say you have a team of 4,
Right.
Or do you have more right now?
Right now we have a team of 5 kitchen staff, 1 manager, and myself.
So
And we have a part-time cafe staff.
Hmm.
Yeah. So we are about 7-8 people.
7-8 people. So now how do you manage them as a team, get them all on the same page, or if you have some plans,
Right.
how is it that you communicate it to them, and how is that entire process?
The first staff who joined with us, so he is one of the key person because he knows what is the process. So he is the one who will train any new staff that come in with the baking part. I go and talk to them on a week basis, so that I tell them what our brand is about, what do we stand for. So for me, the values that we have established. So the key value system that we've established is, I keep telling my team, is customer satisfaction. Customer is God. At the end of the day, customer has to be treated as God, and irrespective of we did right, we did wrong, doesn't matter. Customer's word is the final at the end of the day. And integrity. We do our things with honesty and integrity. Meaning, this is one thing I drill in my staff every time I speak to them. I drill this one thing. We are humans and we make mistake. It's all right to make a mistake, but owning up the mistake is very critical. So when we make a mistake, let's say a customer has ordered something, we goofed up something, I tell them, do not send it to them. We will tell the customer honestly, we did this mistake. Can we send it again? Can we do it again today? If there's no scope to do it today, we will request them for the next day. But being honest with the outcome is very, very critical. Just because you made a mistake, do not hide from me first to start with. Tell me. Then it helps me to talk to the customer and tell them this is what has happened. So that is one thing I've drilled very, very, very well with my staff, that they come back and tell, Madam, galat ho gaya. So that is something which is very crucial in our business, because we are humans, everything is handmade. We do not have machineries that we use. I mean, of course, for the putting things together, yes, but every piece is handmade. So we do make mistakes. Like, for example, it could get overburnt, it could get overproofed, it could get overbaked. So, or they forgot to put baking soda for just that moment. It's human error, and it's bound to happen because they are not automated like these days AI or robotics and other things. So I have told them, you make a mistake, please tell me. Never send something, "Ye chalta hai, madam is not there, it's okay, we'll just send it." Never do, and that is very, very, very strictly followed. That I've drilled in my staff. This is the value system based on which a business exists. Honesty, integrity, ethics is I value honesty and integrity very highly, and of course customer satisfaction, because if that is not there, we wouldn't even exist. So for me, every customer has to be happy. We do make mistakes, there are mistakes, but I can happily say that we've got about close to 95+% of very good reviews. I think that you could see in our Google review also. So because our motive is to deliver the best to our customers, and I think my staff have, even though they are not qualified bakers, but they have got this right in their head. So
that's amazing.
I think that's one thing which I keep telling them. Our product has to be classy, looks has to be classy, and we have to do things right. So that's very, very critical, and I have been instilling in them.
That's amazing. And remember in the initial bit of the conversation, you said that you're a little hesitant to speak about your business.
Right.
So now how is it? What has changed?
That's a very good question. Actually, even until a year or two back, I've been very hesitant to tell people or to ask people for, would you like to try our product? That's how I've been. I think I joined this business network called BNI, which has given me an insight into the business world. Because until then, my connects were mostly my friends, my colleagues, my ex-colleagues, and my family and my staff. I've not interacted too much with business people, entrepreneurs. So BNI gave me the first look into the business world, and they are key words that they say is give and ask. So these are the two key words you'll keep listening. You have to give and then ask. So they kind of train you in a way to ask on a weekly basis. We kind of tell them what is that we want, what are we looking for, and in the process we also give to the other people. So that's a very beautiful network which has helped me. Of course, I mean, it does give, help you generate business, for which the network, exists mostly. But for me personally, it has made me see myself as a business person, made me acknowledge myself as an entrepreneur, and made me be confident to go and ask people. And I think it has given me the platform to network. And this, as I told you, this year has been a focus for my personal, I wouldn't say personal development, my development as an entrepreneur, as a business person. Where I've done IMB course, I have, where we met.
Yeah.
And I have been doing another course again. So there are certain, getting into this ecosystem to understand. So I think that is what has made me to confidently speak about my business.
That's amazing. So now that you're you are in this world for quite some time, but what do you think are the traits that a successful businesswoman need to have, or a business person?
I think you need to have your value system in place. That's one key thing, because without a value system, be it family or personal life, nothing exists. So once you have a value system, there's nothing called right or wrong. It's very personal to every person. So for me, if I have defined a value system, stick by it, come what may. Never ever give holiday for it. So that is one key thing I've learned. Stick by it. You might be tempted to do this, to do that. Why? Sometimes somebody will say, your product is expensive. We want in bulk. Why don't you lower the quality? It's easy to do. Let's say for that particular client, we can reduce the quality. But what guarantee the quality will not be reduced for the rest? How will I ensure, because I'm not there 24/7, how will I ensure my staff do not by mistake put it? So if I have a value system that quality is the thing that I'm going to focus, don't give holiday for it. Stick by it, come what may. So we have said we will not have preservatives in our cafe at all. So when we started supplying to a few businesses the breads, because we do not have preservatives in our kitchen, so that means our shelf life is very less. So the client asked, can you add shelf life improvers? I said, no, that's not something I want to get into it, because if I want to stick by this value system, I would rather stick by it rather than getting more business and more money. So I think that's one key thing, very, very important thing that you have to have. Stick by your values, stay by it and work by it. And another thing I learned very recently is have your finances right. Do the groundwork, get your numbers right. So these are two things I think one should focus on. And most of the things will fall in place is what I feel. If you have the right intention, I think things will fall in place. It's something I believe, because in the last 6 years, things have fallen in place for me. Without me doing the groundwork of many things, I think things have fallen in place because my intention and my value systems were right. So.
And you worked in some really big companies like Cisco,
yes,
and Sandisk.
Right.
So how was your experience there, and what did you learn in those businesses that you incorporated in your current company?
So in those companies, I was more of a team player. I was more of an individual contributor. So I think I learned how to be a team player. So I think that has helped me in interacting with my staff as well, because we are more like a team than a boss and a subordinate kind of thing. So those were the values I've learned from my bosses then, because being a leader is a very critical thing. I always, when I was working, I never felt I could be a leader. I always felt I could never be a manager. I could never manage people. But contrary to that, I'm doing that now. I'm managing a lot of people, and also it helped me interact with my customers as well. Because there you kind of interact with your peers. So it gives you a lot of scope to develop your interpersonal skills, and you will have to go through negotiation skills there. Many things in a different way. Now here it is business, there it could be a project, it could be a day-to-day deliverable. So I think definitely that has made me the person who I am now, because I think I can coexist quite conveniently with my staff, with having my ego zero, oh, I'm a boss, that kind of air and that kind of ego doesn't exist. So I think it's made me more grounded and be more of a team player than a boss, I would say. So and also they've made me grow like a leader, to lead the business. So I think it has played a subtle part in my entire journey as a person who I am.
That's nice. So all this while we were focusing on your initial days of business. So now we move to the next segment, which is where you and I, both of us, are in, which is in the scaling up stage.
Right.
So when you said finance is a very important thing, so what do you think that you need to start doing today with respect to finance, so that Heavenly Desserts can maybe serve 500 or 1,000 customers in a day?
Right.
If that's your aim.
Yes, of course, everybody wants to grow, wants to scale up, wants to have more orders. To be very honest, we are, the process of our INB course, I think I learned a lot of nuances of businesses, lot of things like marketing, operations, branding, market, so many things. And it was it was an eye-opener to me, and where I started doing the math, like the utilization is something which I remember in one of the classes they were talking about. So I have never measured that so far.
Okay.
Even though I've been running business, and as long as we see growth, you're happy. Because you understand businesses take time. But I think that's not one should be satisfied with. You have to calculate and measure things. That's something I learned. So when I measured the utilization, I figured we are only 30% utilization of the environment we have. So we could have a better utilization. So now that's the focus. How can I have better utilization? That means we need more orders. How can I get more orders? That means people should know us. If I'm not talking about myself, about my business, nobody else will talk with that passion as a founder. As a business owner, I think you are the first and foremost the best person who can speak about your business with passion.
Correct.
So only when you speak about it, people will know you're very serious about it. That is something I learned in the whole process, BNI, IMB and SLP now. So all of this has given me the clarity on what I should focus more. So utilization is one thing. So now you figured you're not utilizing. So it's money. Your resource not utilized is money wasted.
Correct.
So it's wasted. It's not even, I wouldn't say it's money existing or it's wasted done, because today time and the resource not used is money wasted. So it's one critical thing I've learned. So how to utilize, how to improve your utilization, that is the focus. So now we understand you need more orders. So now what next? You have to go and reach out to that. So that is another thing I think I learned is if you reach out to 1,000 people, probably 10 will get converted. So
Correct.
you have to reach to 10,000 now. You have to have 500. So that is the focus which I am trying to do now. Reach out to as many as people possible.
How are you doing that?
I think I'm talking to a lot of people, networking. So with a lot of connects, all the business connects that I have come to know so far, I'm trying to meet them and tell them about because many times I think people associate me with a baking part, with cake, but they do not know what other things we do. Not just the connects that we have or business people. Even my friends, sometimes they do not know. They ask, oh, you do bread as well? It's whole wheat. Okay, so I realize that people see what they want to see. They do not see if you don't tell. So that is one big thing I've learned. Even a lot of customers I have already on a day-to-day basis, they do not know we do hampers, gift hampers.
Okay.
Yeah, so a lot of my BNI counterparts, friends in the chapter members do not know we do have gift hampers. So I think you have to educate your friends, your chapter members, your network, connects about what you can do. So that's something which I have realized that I would, I will network more. That's something which I've decided to do in this year. That's a focus.
So you mentioned that, you want to network more.
Right.
So which all platforms can people actually go and networking?
So BNI is one good place. And Rotary, I have joined Rotary also, but that's more of for your personal, to give back to the society. It's a more platform for that. But yes, again, you get a chance to network with a lot of very eminent people. I think currently it just gave me a platform, but I think there will be many more opportunities. Like IMB was another where you meet women entrepreneurs from all over India. And I think NSR Cell has been organizing many cohorts and other things. So where you kind of consistently meet people, and there are some women entrepreneur groups, there are some startup groups in WhatsApp and all. I'm part of it, but how often you get to meet them is another, it's another question. But yes, there's a lot. It's again up to you, where you want to take it to the next level. So there are many opportunities, I guess. So I think one leads to another. That is how it's been for me. So, but BNI is one, conscious decision that I took towards the step in business networking, and it's definitely has molded me as a better business person, I would say, or acknowledging myself as an entrepreneur.
That's nice. So since yours is a desert company, right? So what are the challenges that you face? Like, for example, many customers might say, okay, when you were delivering it, maybe the cupcakes got tumbled and, the frosting would be completely off the cupcake. So at that time, how do you generally manage your mindset and how do you fix that situation?
Yeah, so it has happened many times, particularly cakes and cupcakes, of course, both were. So because delivery has been a biggest challenge, because as I told you, when I started, I used to do the delivery and I used to go in the car. But we figured that it's very critical that the delivery has to be managed well, because a cake order is for an occasion and you don't want that to be spoiled. Even though, let's say, your part is done after you have made, but I think until the customer gets it in right form is also your part, is your responsibility, is what I feel. Even though we use a third party delivery and we have a disclaimer saying, we are not responsible because it's a third party. Of course, we're using third party people, right? And it's a chance that the customer is taking, but still I feel that it's a bigger responsibility with us. So consistently and constantly I'm on it. When I know there's a cake or a cupcake being delivered, I ensure that we so one of the things that we try and do is, for any cake more than a kg, we try and do cab deliveries, and we tell the customer that they have to pay extra for it. So where the cab deliveries are very safe, we've sent wedding cakes, engagement cakes, tier cakes, and a lot of them, and they are pretty fine. But when it's about 4, 5, 6 cupcakes, it's very, very tricky. So what I have instructed my staff and the team to do is to book a porter, or ensure the vehicle that you book is a scooter, so that they can keep it on the base or the foot area, and then the back can be kept there and taken safely. But still, having done all of this, we still end up having messed up cakes as well. So we try and see if we can send another cake to them, but sometimes the time is gone. You deliver a cake for 7 p.m. There's no way you can also do another cake because you're closed. So that's a biggest delivery is the biggest challenge in multiple aspects as well. So this is cakes. Other snacks are like, everyone would like to have snacks at around 4. So it's a parallel delivery that you have to do. So getting delivery people also has become a little bit tricky of late. So that's the biggest challenge that we are facing. So constantly your mind is at work. Post 3, your mind is constantly at work that you want the deliveries to happen. It's just a matter of 3 hours time, but the 3 hours is quite stressful, that you have to ensure that your cake goes right. So once the cakes are delivered right, then you're fine. So it is, but sometimes it is not in your hands as well. You are aware of the whole thing. So what we try and do is we appraise the customer ahead, saying there is this probability and we tell them, so are you okay, we send it by an auto or a cab. So we try and push for that. If the customer says no, it's okay, try the bike delivery, then we send it, taking a caution that once we book a porter, we call the guy, are you a scooter? If they say no, we are a bike, then we cancel, book again. So this is a process one has to go through. So the delivery time is very crucial and quite taxing as well.
And now that you're planning to scale up, right? So how are we going to manage this entire thing? Because that would be one of the major challenges as you're scaling up.
Correct.
So have you come up with any idea or strategy to kind of cater to this?
I've been thinking a lot, but how much ever I think I will go back to square one with no solution, honestly, because the safest is individual delivery by cab. If you choose bike, there is a probability of it smudging. So I really don't find a solution in this because it is a challenge and we have to live with it, I guess, and hope and pray that the delivery person takes it right.
Yeah,
so
maybe
even however you scale, you're going to cater to that many customers, but each one is a single entity and it's going to be a single deliverable. So it has to be handled on a case-to-case basis, and it is a challenge and that will exist, I guess.
So do you think if somebody comes up with a business which only caters to delivery of desserts, do you think that would be helpful for not just you but so many dessert owners or cafes wherein it has been taken a lot of care to deliver it in such a way that it doesn't get disrupted?
So as I told you, we could choose the cab option then. So if only when people want a cost effective, but since it has to be parallelly delivered, even because I've umpteen times thought of buying a vehicle or even renting a vehicle on a monthly basis and have a dedicated vehicle and a driver, but that's not going to solve this problem, right? Because if 5 cakes have to go to 5 different destinations and at the same time in the evening, everybody's celebrations in the evening mostly, right? Evening 5, between 4 and 6. In Bangalore traffic, having one vehicle, you can't cater to 5, forget about 5, just 2 is difficult unless it is within 5 kilometer proximity, which we take care. So any cakes within the 5 kilometer, we deliver by our own delivery person. We have a bike, we have a delivery person. So we are very happy when the order is within the 5 kilometer radius. When the order is beyond, then we try and appraise the customer and tell them we'll do a cab delivery, and they understand. Yeah. So when it is a bigger order, a bulk order for a event in a corporate or any of such things, we do either porter or a cab delivery in bulk. So we do have solutions. So what I'm going to say is, for a smaller order, the problem persists.
Correct.
Smaller order and longer distance, the problem does persist.
So that is like a problem for many.
Many.
Last mile delivery is the most crucial, and that's what is going to make the deal or break the deal.
Very true. Every baker goes through this, and this is a consistent question among our baker friends, that how do you deliver a cake? So the only solution safest is either you deliver, customer comes and picks up. These are the 2 foolproof methods. Third is the cab delivery, and so I think we are going with it.
That's nice. And I had one more question. As you were talking about your first customer, I thought I would ask you this. So whenever we eat any dessert, I saw even in your office it was like dessert is, the spelling, if you reverse it, it is stressed. So when you're stressed, eat desserts, right? So whenever any client of yours eats your cake,
right,
what emotion comes up to them?
Oh, they're very excited. They always, I've heard my customers tell me that we add a special touch to their celebration. They say without our cakes, their celebration is not complete. That's another feedback I keep hearing. They're very excited, and there are the most exciting or most satisfying thing that I've heard is when the kids go and tell the parents, "Mummy, I want Rubina auntie's cake." So that is very, very satisfying and makes me feel worth running Heavenly Desserts. So people are very excited when they have our products, and they keep telling me, we want to come back. So this is a consistent feedback that I get from almost 95% of my customers.
That's great. So now we are scaling up. We spoke about finances, we spoke about the importance of networking, about delivery. How about the sales and marketing part? What is it that you feel you can do more in order to reach, say, 1,000 customers?
Right. that's another thing which we are hoping to focus this year, because one very simple example I would say is, of late we ask the customers to come home, to come to the cafe to pick up the cakes. So when they could be our regular customers as well, and so when they come to our cafe and they are like, many have noticed, hey, this is a cute place, and I'm like, oh, they didn't know. I have been posting in the WhatsApp group that we are there, we are open, we have a cafe, but I think groups, people tend to miss out messages, and many are not aware. So that's one biggest lesson I've learned, that not everyone who are your regular need to know that there's a cafe there. So as well as I mentioned earlier, not many know what we actually do. So I think it's constant educating that is needed. So we are working on methods of how we can educate our customers about what we do, because I'm 101% sure that not many know about our Diwali hampers, about our Christmas hampers. They don't know about our products, but I think they end up finding it if they're looking for one. But I think we miss out on the wagon because we educate them only towards the end of the, almost closer to the festival. So I think we have to start a little ahead and say people that, hey, we do this. Many do not even know that we do cupcake bouquets. So that's, as a gifting solution, we do cupcake bouquets. They're pretty. So I think it's all about educating them. So I have to focus this year again on how and what are the avenues we're going to use to educate people. So of late I've been hearing LinkedIn a lot. Earlier I think as as a hardware engineer, we thought LinkedIn's are only for professionals, in the tech industry. But I think it's not not the case. A lot of people have started using LinkedIn very, in a very, or rather, how do I say that? Very broadly, so that they can tap into a lot of connects. So I think that's one thing which I'm looking at exploring, how we can use LinkedIn to reach out to people and say, or educate people that we do these things. And we're also trying to do more of networking with our customers. Because I think I speak to a customer when they come for an order, but how often are we talking to them? So that's something which I've been thinking I should individually call, make it a point to connect with 4 customers, 5 customers on a weekly basis, and kind of then have a chat with them and say, oh, networking with them is also important, is what I feel.
Correct.
And one customer, can let another 10 people know about us.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I think that's also another strategy which we should apply to educate our current customers so that they can become our brand ambassadors as well.
That's
something which
amazing.
I'm thinking.
And now that we are going to be scaling up, of course, there are going to be a lot of competition as well. Right? So like Theo Brahma, for example, they were also a home run bakery, and then they turned out to be really huge. So what do you think about competition, especially in Bangalore, wherein every street or so many cafes are there?
Right.
So how do you firstly stand out?
Right.
And when you're scaling up, how are you going to cater to the competition?
Right. That's a consistent question, or the consistent thing that we face. But I think what I personally feel is our value proposition is made to order and customizable. So we cater to a customer's requirement, be it design, taste, dietary restrictions, and doing it fresh. So I think this is something none of the bakeries or the cafes could do. If you are a home baker, yes, you end up doing that. But being a commercial setup, to be able to cater to an individual requirement, I think that is what makes us stand apart. Because any cake, honestly, it's again not, I'm not saying it for the sake of it, but we bake the cake on order only. Except that for the cafe, if somebody comes to a cafe, walk in and want a half a kg cake, yes, you might get something that's baked the previous day, but not baked months ago. So that is something which we very strictly abide by. These are our value systems, as I told you, and we give no holiday to it. So that's our value proposition. That's how we kind of stand apart. And we are consistent with our taste. We are consistent with our innovation. So we consistently innovate to what the customer wants. We don't shy away when something that we've not done, they ask, we would like to do it, we'd like to try it. So that is how we also learn, that is how we also grow, that is how we innovate different product lines. Yes, we have 200 products, but most of them are variations, I would say. Like, you know, but if you actually divide it on a category wise, it's quite simple. It's like either we have snacks, we've desserts, we've cupcakes, cakes, breads. So it's and cookies. So it's quite categorically it's quite easy. And with that one category, we have variations. So that's how many products you would see. So, but we want to consistently grow into being the dessert place where you get unique desserts, you know. I'm sure everybody can recreate them, but still we'd like to be the first one to be able to do certain desserts. So that's something which we're working on. So that's another R&D that we're trying to do.
I mean, that's a very good thing to do because most of the cafes have the same things, right? Like New York cheesecake is something that's very popular in Bangalore right now. Every cafe you go in, they do have the cheesecake. But you know, unique desserts is something that's really good, and that can be like a premium category.
Exactly.
People would like to come from all over India to eat this dessert. So that's a very nice differentiating factor because if you look at Theo Brahma, they're more like, you know, catering to the larger audience. They have a set menu, and so they were able to scale because customization is little difficult to scale in.
Exactly, very true.
So you'll be more into a premium category.
Yes, we want to be different. We don't want to do the routine things that everyone does. Yes, we might have competition, but I also strongly believe that everyone doing things right and having a value system that they follow and they follow their heart and do it, there is space for everybody to exist is what I feel. Nice. So I don't think anybody can kill anyone else unless you don't do things right. So that is my very strong belief. So do things right, follow your the value and the value proposition that you want to give it to your customer. Follow that to the T without any holiday, and I'm sure you will be able to, because that is how I very strongly believe we've been taken care. You know, we had our challenges. We have had different kind of challenges. We've got challenges every single day.
Like what?
Okay, so when we started 7-6 years back, when we went commercial, we had challenge of meeting the time, you know, finishing our orders within that 4-5 o'clock. Now we are finishing it by time, but delivery has become a challenge. That time I was doing the delivery, so I needed the product to be able to deliver. And those times we wanted orders and we were getting orders, so we wanted more orders. Now the number is increased, the scale of what we want orders. So earlier we were only happy with 10 cakes or 20 cakes a month, but now we want more cakes. We can do probably 10 cakes in a day. You know, we want to do, we've scaled to that level, because earlier I was the only one who would be able to frost a cake. Almost, I think, until 2022 April tak, it was only me. But my staff slowly trained themselves. I have taught them a bit, but they have put in more effort to even be able to frost a cake. So now that is not a challenge anymore. Earlier I have to run from home. If I'm doing something else, I have to run from home to go and frost a cake to deliver. But now that's an independent task which happens, and the cake is delivered. I don't have to really go there. But currently I am doing the fondant work and more intricate works. But if we find somebody to do that, then that will be another challenge gone. But that's what. So if you actually see, I have been very hands-on in the operations all these while, but I think it's very clear that I have to step out and let other people take over these operations, and I have to do more of biz dev, I have to do more of marketing, I have to do more of networking. So these are the different kind of challenges. We've been growing with different challenges as the days go by. That's and nice. Every time we have different challenges, but I have one thing I've consistently noticed is we are taken care. God has been so gracious to us that every hurdle that we come, you know, it's taken care and we pass through it, you know, and we move on to the next challenge. So I think it's a very blessed journey. I would say that I have come this far.
That's great. That's amazing. I would now see, we spoke about the competition aspect of it. So we have covered most of the challenges that one could face as they are scaling up. And we all are in the process of scaling up. So the next bit of it would be something that I could ask you maybe after like 3 years. Who knows, Heavenly Desserts would be known to so many different people. One thing that you mentioned, which really is very different and unique, is the premium category of, you know, desserts. Something unique. And I also know that in your menu there are like some 4-5 which is very different. Could you name the unique desserts that you currently create?
We do this, the badam milk shots that we do for Diwali time, where we have a chocolate shell and we have put the badam milk mix, so that when dropped into hot milk, it becomes a desi drink kind of thing.
That's nice.
So that's one of the unique thing that we kind of do, and we do most of desi infused desserts. So it's like putting just in your regular cake, trying to use milk powder, more of it, and then try to bring in a little bit of a koa, and we make our own koas and koya or koa, whatever you call. So we make our own, so that we bring in a little bit of desi touch, like more of a gulab jamun kind of a flavor with a cake,
Jalebi,
those kind of things.
Gulab jamun,
and
cupcakes and everything.
Yeah, and we also tried what is that, masala chai tres leches.
That's nice.
Yeah, so that's a little bit of a twist with the tres leches that we normally make, because people really love our tres leches and our breads. So these desserts that we kind of make a small twist to the regular desserts to make it a little desi. Otherwise, I think in the process we kind of do something. I think the ragi jaggery cookies is one of such thing, because again we felt, I think ragi cookies are available, but we wanted to make it more authentic ragi, because a lot of times people say multigrain and ragi, and it ends up being a mix of a little bit of ragi and something else. So we wanted to make it really authentic, so we kind of tried our best to keep it only ragi with no maida or no gluten at all, I would say. So that way it can pass on for a gluten-free cookie as well. So people with gluten allergy can have it, people with the diabetes can have it. So
health based.
Yes. So most of the products have evolved or born because somebody wanted it for a reason. So we are very open to trying it, even if it is for just one customer.
That's great.
So if there's some requirement, people can reach out to us, and we'll be more than happy to do an R&D for them and have a product developed for them.
That's great. That's amazing. So now that we have spoken so much about the business and the scaling up stage, let's talk about you, the main person behind Heavenly Desserts. So Rubina, how were you when you were a child?
I was a very, I think I was a very studious, as I told you, for me, because it came, again, it was something, it was my USP, I should say, probably. So I held on to it, and I was a very happy child. Both my parents, dad and mom, my mother's a doting mother. She was a stay-at-home mother, and for her husband and children were the world. So she would do anything for them. And I have a sister, younger sister. So we both girls were, we're just a year apart. And and I think as we were growing up, we had our own challenges and tussles and everything. But she's one of my best friend now. And so my dad, being a sports person, was a very happy person. He taught us how to see art in everything. He would say, while eating, he would say, how does this look like? Just a plate, a sambar spread. He would ask, how does it look like?
Wow.
He would like us to find out art in it. That is how he inspired us. He would appreciate art. He would appreciate the goodness around. He would appreciate the beauty of a flower, anything for that matter. And my mom would translate his vision in, nurturing us. She used to be by us, because dad used to teach us how to paint, but mommy made us practice it. So that is, from childhood, I remember we used to go for painting competitions, me and my sister, and we used to draw. Drawing was something which really both of us enjoyed. So dad used to train us, and Amma used to, teachers, dad used to teach us, and Amma used to train us, make us do it correctly. And she was always by our side. And I think the value system is what I was talking about, is something that my mom has taught us. As a child, she cannot stand us even lying a bit. So that's one thing that's instilled in my head. No holiday for truth. You have to be honest and truthful. That's one. The value system that me and my sister, I'm sure she also has a similar value system, has been nurtured from a child. From being a child. That these two have art and being honest and standing by your words are something which we've been brought up with. And so I was a very happy child, very studious, because I was always a topper. So for me, consistently maintaining it. So again, consistency comes in place, I guess. Have to consistently be the topper has been in my head. But one thing which I think it's my mother's teaching: never be jealous of another person. That is one very strong thing I've learned, because I see many times, even with my children and other children, with many people, like she has it, he has it, I want it. That has never been there in my family. We don't care who has what. We will go for what we want. That's it. So even when I was aspiring to be the topper, never was like, oh, the other person should not get, was never the that's how I don't see another person as a competition also now. They exist, but I think there's scope for everyone to do well. Like 2 people can get top marks, 2 people can be the toppers, no problem. Even 10 people can be, as long as you work hard. Everyone can be that. So similarly, if there are 10 brands, all can be top brands in their own space. They can deliver their own kind of products. So I don't really am worried, even though at times, yes, you do feel, but I've never done a competitor analysis per se. But yes, I've identified, because we had to identify who are our competitors. But I've never been bothered about somebody being a competition. I always focused on what I want to achieve at. So now I want, as you said, we want 10,000 customers, and we reach out to 10,000 people. Or if I want 10,000 customers, we have to reach to 50,000 people. So that has to be the target, rather than saying, oh, I'm not getting 10,000 customers because another person is there. No, I don't think that's the right way to look at. So that is one thing, again, I think my mother taught us, that don't look at another person and say, oh, he or she has that and you want it. No, you want it because you want it. That is how it has to be. So these certain things that I was brought up with has really molded me. My parents have molded my thought process, my personality as who I am. And so I worked hard studying, becoming an engineer, and I ended up in a dream job. I don't think everybody gets that opportunity. Being in a chip designing industry was my dream job, as a college student, as an engineering student, and landing up in one job like that through a campus interview was definitely a dream come true. And in college I met my husband, my better half, and my best friend next to my, equal to my sister, which I wouldn't say next to. So it's like my sister is the best friend and being a sibling, and my husband he's more of a best friend, than I would always call him as a friend than a husband. So I met him in college and we started working together as well.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and we were the only 2 people who got placed of about 380 students.
Oh wow.
Yeah, in that company. So again, I think, as I told you, divine providence, it led us through. So we worked for about 11 years in 4 different companies together. All 4 companies we were working together for about 11 years. And he has a great part in molding me differently. Like when my parents have set the base, the foundation for the person who I am, and have given me the launch pad to be an engineer, to have launched myself into the world independently. I think my husband has been instrumental in molding me as a person. Otherwise, because I used to be a very not much, I'm not able to word certain things, but definitely I have grown to be the person, or to be a business person. I think he has been instrumental, because had he not told, follow your passion, try it out, Ruby, I don't think I would have had the courage to do it. He was always by my side, and my parents and my in-laws were supportive, and so my children are now. That weekends, yes, we do hardly get much of weekends together because I'm kind of busy with cakes, but everyone has been instrumental. So my journey has been so beautiful. So when you ask about me as a person, I think I'm a very happy person, very contented person. I have my anxieties, I do have my apprehensions, but I think I'm contented with how far I've come. I have aspirations too, so I would like to see how I will achieve that, but I strongly hold on to my value system and try to march towards doing the right thing.
That's
and
nice.
See how far we can grow.
So basically we covered about your childhood and how your parents were instrumental in setting the values of honesty, of doing the hard work, and having that kind of environment wherein you all are friends, and your partner played a very important part in support system. So I think those are very, very important, and those are the traits that you carry in today as well when you are an entrepreneur.
Right.
And that is something that even your team carries forward.
Right.
So that's very nice to hear. When you said that you and your husband kind of started this thing together, so one point you would be getting consistent money, right? When you're working, every month salary gets credited.
Right.
So when you are an entrepreneur, at least in the initial days when you took that sabbatical, how was it for you to realize that, okay, I'm not getting a monthly check anymore and I'm just going to have to depend on the sales that I make? How did that
actually, my
happen?
husband continued to work. He didn't jump into this. We work together only in our tech company, and he continues.
But for you as an individual?
Yes, as an individual, yes. But I think my husband has been supportive. That's why I have not. That is why when I told you in the beginning that I have not done my homework with finance, I think that gave a leeway in my not being so focused on finance, which I have started focusing now, because that's not the right but of course we didn't have to except for a little bit of capital in the early days. I don't think we had to put in from our hand for the business running. It took care of itself. But for the family, yes, I have my husband completely takes care of the family. So I think we have to come to a stage where that's a good business would be when I do not depend on. I mean, we run the whole entire family and everything from the business. I think that's the right mindset to have, I guess. So probably we'll reach there, I guess.
Great.
So,
I mean, all the very best for that. So the intention behind why I asked you your childhood question was to kind of chart out what are all the things that you took away as a child in your current entrepreneurial journey, and what are all the things that you kind of learned being an entrepreneur over the course of time. Like finance is something that you learned by being an entrepreneur, but the values that hold on to running the business, the integrity part is something that you got from your childhood. So that's amazing.
Yes. Because when I started the business, I thought it was going to be easy. Didn't expect it was, because as long as you do good product, you'll be able to sell it and then money is going to come. But it's not so. You have to, there's so many things that involves in running a commercial setup. It's not as it was when you were doing a home baking.
Correct.
So I think those things are a lot of learning I have as a business person. But you're very right. My foundation was all set from where I come from. And also I'm again blessed that my husband is in line with the value system as well, because we share the similar value system and thought process. We are able to run Heavenly Desserts. I mean, I'm able to run Heavenly Desserts peacefully, and he's able to take care of us from his job perspective. So I think that's how we've been we've been doing our respective jobs. And I think that freedom, because of the value system aligns, he's able to give me that freedom to explore. And even though we're still in the growth phase, we are not in a what is the other stage? I think profitable stage, if you talk about, until we reach the profitable state, they're giving the freedom and letting me explore, because as you said, it's a very lucrative money that I was getting in my tech job, and it was just an 8-hour job, and that would have added to the supporting of the family in a many different ways. We could have, I don't know how the lifestyle would have changed, but yes, definitely that X amount is definitely a big money. But allowing your partner to explore this and try and see, and giving that many years, because business is not something will get profitable in a year or two. It takes now already 6 years, and we have a long way to reach to become profitable. So I think to let me have that space and try out with the dedication that I am doing now, I think the entire family, including the children and the in-laws and my parents, all of them have a big part to play to let me do this.
Say for example, any dessert company owner, they come to a therapy session. What is it that you would talk about? Like, what are the pain points?
I think there are many. So it's like right from handling your staff, keeping them motivated, retaining them. It's a big challenge, because since you are in the growth phase, you're not able to afford to pay a lot like many players who pay a lot. So retaining them, motivating them to why they have to stay with us, then inspiring them to follow our value system, because they necessarily need not come with a similar value system, right? They can have a different value system. So sticking by what we have trained them to is one other challenge, because every day or every other day you have to instill in them why it's so important, why Heavenly Desserts has to be the way it is. Like sometimes the guy who does the cake, he feels like he wants to do a different design that he thinks is nice, but it may not be appealing to me as a Heavenly Dessert standard. Then making them understand that I have a vision, or I have a thought how an Heavenly Desserts product should look like. It cannot look like this, it has to look like this, but translating our thoughts to them, why they have to understand. Otherwise they will not understand why should we do it, So that, and consistency, maintaining it, like that kind of, now I'm kind of confident after 6 years, because we've done it for enough time. So things that we've been already doing, I'm quite confident. So that's why I'm not very fast in introducing new products. I'm not very generous in having new products, launching. I think we've been very conservative that haven't launched any new product for a while, I would say, except for Christmas, Diwali. I don't think we've launched any new product in the recent past, to be very, very honest, because eclairs, I think we did it almost a year or two before. I think that was the last new product that we launched in our brand. So I think that's something which, maintaining consistency and maintaining the looks also, because presentation is also important, right? Like sometimes our staff are so busy while packing that they forget that their hand is not very clean, and they pack it on a white box, and there's some little bit of dirt or oil, and for them it's okay, chalta hai, getting those, maintaining the packing look, everything, maintaining the whole look and feel of the brand is a big challenge on a day-to-day basis, because even one delivery made wrong, we lose that customer, right? So it's like almost a delivery on a daily basis. Even when you were a hardware engineer, chip designer, it was like delivery. You deliver a chip, say 6 months once, or a year, 2 years once, or something like that. But this is delivery on a daily basis, that you have to ensure you take care of every single thing. So every single thing is a challenge. Every single thing. So keeping yourself level-headed and cool, because I think that's one thing I have. I kind of learn and try to tell me, but when I'm good at firefighting. Like there's a problem, I'm good at solving it, but how is my emotional state at that point of time is something very varied. It's very tricky. Most of the times I try to keep it balanced, but there are times when it blows out also, because sometimes when I'm anxious, there's a time crunch and I have to go. The cake has to go, and we're putting up things. I tend to make a mistake, because you're in a hurry to do things. So doing it with control is one important thing that you have learned, because at the end of the day, product is what reaches the customer. So correct. Our focus has to be doing that right. Even never hurry it to spoil something. So that's one important thing I think one has to. So every day is a challenge in a way.
That's nice.
One way or other.
And we spoke so much about your strength and your journey. So what about your weaknesses? Have they come in any way in between the growth of your business?
Yes. So, like for example, my weakness is not being aware of certain things. That itself I would say, like where finance had to be given the priority when you're running a business. I think that went into a back burner. So not knowing, not prioritizing certain important things, I think has been, because not being aware itself is one of your weakness. So didn't seek for it then, I guess. So I think that's one of the things. Otherwise, I think not being able to promote myself. That's the biggest weakness I see as an entrepreneur. Because very rightly said, I don't know who said this, where I heard it, but I heard that there's no better salesman than you for your brand. So you are the first and foremost, the best sales person one brand can have. So I think I have not done justice to that. That's one of my biggest weakness. And another weakness, I don't know if it's weakness or a strength, but not being greedy for money is one thing I feel. You don't have to be greedy, but at least you have to have the want to make money, I think. That is also another weakness, because I have not, again, it all boils down to the same finance, I think, but you have to be at least hungry, I think. That's the right word. You should be hungry for money. You should be hungry for growth. You should be be hungry to reach have some timeline set. So that hunger or setting that goal and, aggressively moving, progressing, I think that is one of my weakness. Because I told you I'm a little contented person. So my contentment is also a string that pulls me down in a way, or rather it's not making me grow as much as an entrepreneur should grow. Being contented in a regular life is all right, but being an entrepreneur, I think you have to be hungry. You have to be hungry for growth. You have to be hungry to attain a particular goal. So these are certain things I've been learning in the process. Even though it's late, I think it's not bad, not too late to learn the right things, I guess. So those will be my focus this year. I've been really working hard towards that.
That's amazing. And one final word that you would want to say to any desert entrepreneur, what is that advice? I know you said about financial aspect of it, but if you have to talk something about the technical thing about being a cake designer or a cake artist, what is it that you would want to give them as a piece of advice?
They should know what they're doing, because what happens, because as I was a budding home baker also, I've noticed many people think I follow a recipe, I do it and I can sell it. Doesn't matter. For me, I feel not everyone can make it right. That's something I believe. So one has to know what is a deliverable. Is that a deliverable worth giving or selling? So I think you should be conscious about that. Chalta hai yaar. They ask for a coffee cake, I put coffee and give. No, I mean, it's okay. But is it worth the money that someone's paying? Are you doing justice to the money that you're getting? So I think it again boils down to the value system, I guess. So once you have that set, and then do your homework right with respect to finance, biz dev, all of that, do all of that right. I would seriously suggest that, because just because you know to bake or you want to bake, you like to bake, does not mean you can make a good business. I think you'll have to have all in combination. So please do the homework right. Please do the groundwork right. Talk to multiple people. I think biggest mistake I did was I told you, right, I'm just in the business ecosystem now. I didn't know business people. I didn't know the questions that I'm supposed to ask. I didn't know the things to look forward to, the things to expect. Everything I think I went past by facing it. I have a problem, then I find solution. Have a problem. So I think when you don't, someone said again, and that's a saying, I'm not sure how it's like, if you don't plan, you plan to fail. Actually, you're already planning to fail. Unless you have a plan, then you are already planning to fail. So I think planning phase is very important. So that I've started working now, because earlier what I used to do is, okay, tomorrow delivery is there, okay, fine, cake is done, I'll allocate some time. But I think superficial allocation is not good enough. You have to really plan, time box it. So that's something I've learned. If you have a proper plan, so okay, this is what I'm going to do, this will take this much time, that's what I'm going to do. If this fails, what? So those risk mitigations are something which I'm focusing now. So that is, to be very, very honest, very interesting, I don't know if I'm taking a lot of time, but one point I'll just tell, because very interestingly, in between I was consulting in my tech job. I went back to tech job in between, just for the joy of it, because I was missing my tech job. So I just a year back. So when I went back, I was seeing a stark difference to the engineer Rubina 2018 before to an engineer at hand in 2023. Very, very big difference. And when I was introspecting, I felt I've become more meticulous, more cautious, more careful. Earlier, if I were to design a code, I'll be like, and the code is done. And there'll be some bugs and all that, and you fix and whatever. But this time, I was spending a lot of time on the architecture phase, designing phase. I was sitting and thinking of all permutation combination, what can go wrong and everything. I was surprised at myself. So this business has made me that, it's a clear explanation of what the business has taught me. So I've been learning consistently, and every cake, even till date, even though I do cakes and I've been doing it well, every single cake teaches me something new, and that hunger has to be there in you, to know, to learn. I tell my children, don't think just because you can put few notes or play a song, keyboard. No, you remember that you have so much to learn. Only if you have that, you have scope to learn, only then you will grow. If you think, oh, I've learned everything, then where's the growth then? there's nothing more to grow, and then you're bored. So instead, if you think there is scope to grow, there's more scope to learn, there's more scope to do. I think I have so many things to do. I think I'm at lack of time, I guess. That's what I feel. Because I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do so many things. So I think this year is biz dev and building a good team in that sense for business development. So I will tell, have a good team, have your baseline set, do your groundwork with respect to finance, marketing, your brand, about what you want. So your brand should speak about you, what you want, about the products. So have that right. All of that have your value system right. Do things right. Do it with full passion and with your whole heart. And I think you will never go wrong. Never go wrong. Just do it right. I think you will definitely get there. I think that's the mindset you should have.
That's amazing. So if we have to kind of summarize, what were the business lessons that we learned from Rubina? One is to be consistent and to stick to your values in whatever work that you do in your business. And the second most important thing that you said right now is always keep learning. So there's no point wherein you say that, okay, I have learned this, I'm done. No, you always keep learning, upskilling yourself. And the third beautiful thing that you told was, there is a place for everybody. So don't think of your competition to be a threat. Rather, think of them to be somebody that you can learn from.
Right.
And grow your business in the way you want it to be grown, rather than what the other person is kind of dictating. Because many a times we get, oh, they're making so much money, or they have such a nice brand, I want to imitate them. That is not going to happen.
Right.
You need to be your own brand. You need to know why you are in this particular business space. So I think these were some really nice lessons that we learned from Rubina. And of course, the finance part is very, very important. Planning is very important.
Yeah.
Networking is very important. So I think we had such a wonderful conversation here today with Rubina. Do check out the caption and let us know what do you feel about this podcast in the comments below. Thank you so much. Thank you everybody for watching.
Thank you for having me here.
Yes, thanks.